We hope you don't have cancer, but if you do, this show's for you. The Stupid Cancer Show!
Hey guys, we're back here on the Stupid Cancer Show, live at Stupid Cancer Studios in New York City. I'm joined today by Cassie Beisel, Community Engagement Manager from the Melanoma Research Foundation. I said that right, Cassie Beisel.
You did.
I did.
You did.
That's quality. That's quality broadcasting right
Practice
there.
Practice makes perfect.
What brings you to New York City?
Well, I am in New York City to talk a little bit about the Melanoma Research Foundation and to let you guys know that we are going to be exhibiting at CancerCon this year, which is next weekend. We'll be there on April 20th. Yeah, CancerCon 2018, and we're super excited about it.
April 19th through the 21st in Denver. Crazy excited. You know, it's our 11th conference.
That's amazing.
We've done 11 of these.
That's amazing.
It's pretty amazing, yeah. So, yeah, the Melanoma Research, melanoma has like this crazy stigma. It's not really well understood by the general public. There are so many obvious things that can be done to understand it and prevent it and reduce your risk of it. Let's start just diving in right now. What is melanoma?
Melanoma is the deadliest form of skin cancer.
Which was like skin cancer,
skin cancer,
on
basal
a
cell,
scale.
Squamous cell, and then there is melanoma. Which can be 90% preventable if you do the right things, such as, using sunscreen, reapplying often, going to get your skin checked, catching anything that you have early, make sure you're going once a year, wearing hats, UPF clothing, sunglasses, just really being smart when you're out in the sun. You can still go out in the sun. I rock climb. I go out all the time, but I am reapplying every couple hours because you tend to sweat it off.
You have really good reason to, because you're not just a hair club member, you're the president of the Hair Club Society.
Yes.
Cassie had melanoma, and she works for the Melanoma Research Foundation, which is a fascinating way to pay it forward.
Yes.
But let's talk about your detection and early diagnosis.
Yeah, absolutely. So, my melanoma, I didn't detect it early, unfortunately. I didn't even know what melanoma was.
Well, who does?
Who does? And more people do now because of the work like our organization does by advocating and educating and funding research that's groundbreaking research. But most people don't, and that's another stigma. It's just skin cancer, and it's not. It's not just skin cancer. 178,000 Americans will get diagnosed this year, and there's over 1 million people living with melanoma to date. And so those are some pretty big numbers. I am part of those numbers. I did not have a primary mole. It probably recessed into my body. Probably lived with it for about 3 years before I found it, and it popped into my lymph nodes. They removed all of my lymph nodes, had it in 3 of my 36 lymph nodes they removed, and then did a year of interferon, which is an immunotherapy that is used to treat melanoma.
So let's unpack that for a second. Typically, we think about ways to identify skin cancer through body exams or looking for moles. This was inside you.
This was inside me, yes. Sometimes if you don't catch a mole early, it can just kind of absorb into your skin and start traveling through your lymphatic system and bloodstream. That is absolutely terrifying. And just think, if I would have just gone on my annual skin checks, I probably would have found that mole earlier. And I probably could have just gotten it cut off via biopsy or just a little bit of an excision. But that's not what happened. It got all the way to advanced melanoma, and I am so fortunate that we caught it before it spread to my organs.
Where were you treated?
I was treated just over at Inova, Fairfax. So I live in Alexandria, Virginia, and our offices are in Washington, D.C. And so I was treated over there with some exceptional doctors.
That's some good stuff.
Yes.
We have a good friend of the organization, though, Dr. Sage Bolte.
Sage Bolt, yep, absolutely. So
also speaking at CancerCon next week.
She's also speaking at CancerCon. She partners with the Melanoma Research Foundation as well. She has a wonderful young adult support group that is put on by Life with Cancer. And we love working with her, and she's definitely leading the way in the AYA cancer space for support and resources.
So let's talk about what the Melanoma Research Foundation does.
So the Melanoma Research Foundation is the largest independent organization dedicated to melanoma. We fund groundbreaking research. We work to educate communities about melanoma, and then we advocate. So every year we host a advocacy summit in Hill Day where melanoma people who've been affected by melanoma, whether they're a caregiver or a patient or just someone who's going to support you,
Right.
they come to DC. We give them a couple days training, and then we bring them to the Hill to meet their representatives to talk about key initiatives and things that need to happen in the melanoma space, such as funding, DoD funding and appropriations.
Yeah, the Department of Defense gives funding for cancer research
They
now.
do, and normally we ask for $60 million. This year they signed off on $80 million.
Wow.
Which is amazing, and it's spread across 17
That's
different
good government
cancers.
spending, though.
That's amazing government spending. That's what we're looking for. And then also things like we work for state legislation. So most people don't know this, but kids cannot have sunscreen in schools. Absurd.
That's cray.
So it's total cray. So what they say...
Wait, why is that? Why is that?
Because they consider it an over-the-counter drug. And so you're not allowed to have an over-the-counter drug in schools.
How is sunscreen a drug?
Because of ingredients that are in it. They consider those... I think it's a class 1 drug. I'm no expert. I'm not an FDA person, but they consider it, I think it's called a class 1 or over-the-counter drug. And so it's something like if a child, like Tylenol.
They can't give Tylenol in schools?
Children cannot bring Tylenol to schools.
Oh, I see.
So you cannot bring this, and schools don't offer sunscreen stations like they do like hand sanitizer stations. They don't offer those. There's very little shaded space at schools. They don't allow hats in schools. And so when children are going out for recesses, how are they protecting themselves?
They're not protected.
They're not protecting themselves. And, there is such a thing these days as pediatric melanoma, which affects, kids in their infancy and their toddler years, and normally represents as a small pimple-like structure on their face, not so much a mole. So it's pretty insane.
So are pediatricians aware of this?
Pediatricians, it's becoming more and more known across the board as more and more people. It's considered rare, same as ocular melanoma, which is of the eye, or uveal melanoma, and mucosal melanoma is another rare one that happens in your mucosal linings, so the linings of your mouth, inside your nose, inside your eyes. And then lastly, acral, which is what Bob Marley passed away from, which goes under the fingernails and toenails and in between your toes. So it's just...
That's a little disgusting and terrifying.
Yeah, it's like cray times 10.
Yes, insane.
Yeah, it's crazy.
So what is the latest research these days in melanoma?
So it's fascinating. So the latest research not only applies to melanoma, but it's applying to a lot of other cancers too, such as lung cancer. A melanoma drug, which is the PD-1 inhibitor drug that they designed for melanoma.
Cancers.
It works very well in certain types of lung cancers. So research is just, the dollars that we get and put towards research are just expanding research as we know it for all cancers, and it's just amazing. There are other drugs that have come out. We've come a long way since 2011 when I was diagnosed.
Right.
Your options were interleukin-2 or interferon, both very hard on your system. It's like having the worst flu you could have for a year.
Wow.
Since then, they've come out with multiple new drugs that have been able to give people longer lives. It has helped those 1 million people living with melanoma live longer lives, be part of
better quality of life,
yeah. Being able to be around their families and friends and be involved in what they're doing. It's helped young adults be able to continue on their life in the most important times where they're beginning their careers and really getting to know who they are. And so we're really proud that we've been part of that funding. Melanoma is an epidemic, and it doesn't have to be.
No, it doesn't have to be.
Yeah.
So let's talk about your story, because melanoma wasn't the end of the road for you.
No, it wasn't. No, my story is pretty exciting.
Yes.
So stage 3B melanoma, after a year, I was actually fundraising for the MRF as a volunteer. I was doing a 100-mile bike ride or a century ride, and my time was a little slow. I was like, gosh, why what's happening? My time's slow. I was kind of disappointed in myself. And 2 days later, I was in the hospital with acute lymphoblastic leukemia with a very serious chromosomal mutation.
The cancer is so nice, you got it twice.
The cancer is so nice, I got it twice. Did the bone marrow transplant at UPenn with Dr. David Porter, which was amazing. After 2 years, I was working in the hospitality industry for Gaylord, who does the Opryland National Harbor, who's now owned by Marriott.
Yeah.
I was working with them, and after 2 years on long-term disability, I said, you know what, I have a story. I need to share it. I need to do something different with my life. And I kicked down the MRF door and said, I have to work for you.
You're hiring me today.
You're hiring me today. And the reason I wanted to do that was because of how much they helped me when I first was diagnosed. They had amazing free educational resources on the website, which is melanoma.org. They had an award-winning campaign, which is
you're gonna like this, folks.
Our Get Naked campaign, guys, which is awesome. Get Naked.
Here on the Stupid
The
Stupid Naked Show?
No, the Stupid Cancer Show. We get naked. We check loved ones. We check ourselves. We check everywhere, including mucosal linings, in your eyes, between your toes, all of that.
But that's incredible, though, because you can go to a MRF event and get looked at.
Yeah, absolutely. So a lot of our 5K series are run walks that we have nationally. We have 15 events nationally. We bring our partner dermatologists in to provide free skin checks.
That's incredible.
So free skin checks. So even if you have an insurance plan that isn't the best and you can't afford to go to the dermatologist, you can come to one of our events and get a free skin check.
That's absolutely incredible.
Which is amazing. And so, those are just one of the things that we do and one of the ways to get involved with us. There are so many other ways. Our Advocacy Summit in Hill Day, if you want to fight the good fight to get the sunscreen allowed in schools.
Go to DC and lobby.
Go to DC and lobby, or to ban tanning beds. College campuses.
That's a crazy story. Tanning beds, kids. Tanning beds.
And this is a great thing for this show, is tanning beds. I believe it's 37 out of 150 of the top campuses allow you to use your student debit card to tan in a tanning bed.
On campus?
On campus.
Why would a campus have tanning beds? Says the guy who has no idea that there were tanning beds on campus.
So, yeah. You've got me. We ask ourselves the same question all the time, because we really feel at the Melanoma Research Foundation that, and I feel personally, because I am a victim of a tanning bed and not having, good sun care and body care, skin care, that it gives you a 75% more chance of getting melanoma later in life.
And there's no way. I know certain states have banned tanning beds, which I imagine would include the universities at this point. But is there? Maybe not. Are there disclosures when you go to a tanning salon that says, like when you like warnings on the cigarette labels? Are they mandated to have doing this might kill you?
I don't know about the mandations. I would think that they don't, because so many people still go.
Yeah.
I do know that there's a tanning tax now for all tanning beds to pay a tax, and that is one of the issues that we fight for during our advocacy summit, is to keep that tanning tax alive.
Does that tax go to research?
That tax goes to research, I believe, yes, on tanning beds. So that is super important. And then it's also, really important to, just don't go.
Just don't go.
Don't go. We want you to be happy with the skin that you have on your body.
Yeah, like how do you make tanning not cool?
Because it's not.
Well, you have to make it not
Looking
cool.
orange is not cool.
No,
and I thought when I was younger, you know what, I'm going to get a preventative base.
Yeah.
That preventative base turned into advanced melanoma, and not too short of a time after I was tanning. Right. So, I got it when I was 32.
Right.
Not what I was expecting.
Right. So let's talk about your story as a young adult.
Yeah.
In the prime of your life, getting these massive derailments out there. One of the commonalities in our space now is also about fertility.
Yes.
And the liberty of parenthood. Mm-hmm. So I have to ask, were you made aware of fertility risk or infertility risk by going through cancer either time?
So not with my melanoma, and I think because it was so early on and we were still learning so much about melanoma and the drugs, and I don't know, I wasn't informed that interferon had an effect like that. Okay. And it did not affect me.
Thankfully.
With my leukemia, I certainly was made aware, but it was in a setting because I went to the emergency room,
Yeah.
and that's
There was
how
no
we
real
found
time to
it. There
have
was
a-
really
yeah.
no time, and there was really no choice about my treatment option. It was do your treatment, or, you know,
Right.
see ya for maybe 3 months, and then
Yeah.
you won't be here.
So are you currently in a state of almost purgatory, not knowing about fertility or
I
abilities?
know a lot about fertility now, and that's all thanks to my own research. My doctors did ask if I wanted to keep my eggs.
Very important.
It's super important. Unfortunately, I am postmenopausal.
Right.
And that was because of my extreme treatments. I mean, I think, the combination of both my interferon and my leukemia treatments and my
Right.
bone marrow transplant
All that.
kind of makes those things
Yeah.
happen sometimes. So, but I was informed, but I talk to so many people all the time who don't know anything about it or don't know where to find resources. And resources is a big thing, and there's not enough of it, and especially in the melanoma field.
Well, we talk about, my dad has a running joke where the secret to life is to clean up nice, make it look good, and never look under the hood.
Yeah.
Because it's the invisible stuff.
It's the invisible, and the invisible always
Because you're
gets
fine,
you.
right? Your life's great. Get on with yourself.
Yeah. No, looking at me now, you would never know
No.
that I went through what I went through.
Right.
And yourself,
Yeah.
you would never know that you went through something.
There's
so,
nothing wrong with me right now.
perfect.
I'm a specimen. So let's talk about the ways to possibly prevent or reduce your risk of melanoma with the ABCDE test.
Yeah.
It's something that everyone should know about. It's really simple. It's alphabetical,
Yes.
which is something most people
And I
should
hope
be able
everyone
to,
knows their
yeah.
alphabet.
So
So
A,
A is asymmetrical, B is border, C is color,
you're cheating.
D is diameter, and E is for the evolution. So
Right.
basically what that means, asymmetrical, a mole that, normally you could have that would look like a circle, let's say it starts changing,
Right.
it starts evolving,
Yeah.
and it starts to look like a squiggly circle.
Yeah.
That's something you should get checked out. Border, if your border, so sometimes you can measure and see if your border is kind of squiggly or if it starts to grow beyond
Or
its
changing
normal
color like
boulder.
the
Exactly.
circumference
So it
changes.
becomes a little crusty.
Yeah.
It changes color. The circumference is
Yeah.
growing or looks a little different. It's a two-colored mole, and it used to not be.
Yeah.
Those are things you want to check out. And then again, color, which we just had mentioned. So it changes color. It's not consistent all the way through. You have mole clusters.
Yep.
But I want to just mention something on that. So those are the A, B, C, D, and E's, and those are what you need to watch for. But there's also times that it can present as something you would never think,
Right.
like pediatric melanoma. It looks like a pimple.
Right.
Sometimes it can present as a clear mole or a pimple.
Right.
So always keep an eye out. Or a streak under your nail bed. If you see a brown or black streak,
Yeah.
or something that looks like a little black and blue mark under your nail bed, on your toes and your
Right.
hands, that's melanoma.
But get checked.
Get checked.
naked.
Get naked. Check a loved one. Make sure you get your head. Make sure you check those mucosal lining areas. Make sure when you go to your doctor's appointments, you go to the eye doctor, you go to the OBG, you go to your eye, nose, throat, ear guy,
Yeah.
that they're looking in the mucosal linings, and that your hairdressers are also looking on your scalp
That's another
to
thing
look
too.
for that.
Is there any education in salons for the techs, the people working that'll look for this?
Yeah, so absolutely. So the Melanoma Research Foundation works with a lot of hairdressers across the nation to educate them about what to look for and basically the ABCDEs of the scalp.
That's very important.
And we also, educate them on how to talk to that person
Right.
when they're getting a haircut if they notice something. And it's called our Mark the Spot program.
Mhm.
So, going to the hairdresser, we're training them to mark the spots. And it's just part
Very
of the
important.
wonderful, free educational materials that we have on melanoma.org.
Right.
So,
And when you're bald, it's super easy to see weird stuff.
yeah, it is. And that's why you need to wear a hat.
Oh, I wear a hat all the time. Those of you that follow me on social, it's called fedora spotting because I have two. I have a winter and a summer fedora,
Uh-huh.
which I decided to wear all the time because I myself had a basal cell
Right.
or a squamous cell, I forget what it was, up here, and they did the Mohs surgery and
Right.
carved out a giant chunk of my skull.
Yeah.
And it's fine now, but yeah, it can happen to anyone. And we're moving targets because we went through cancer.
Mhm.
And if you're watching the show and you've already beaten cancer or are living with cancer, it's just another thing to layer on about self-awareness.
Absolutely. And Look, I've had a third. I've had squamous cell just recently. In the past 2 months, I had 2 cut off of my thighs, 1 on each side. So, you know, I'm symmetrical in that way, which is great. But I'll tell you what, the Mohs surgery wasn't pleasant, and it's not a pleasant healing process. And, you know, again, it's not a place where you think you would get it because it doesn't generally have sun exposure. Right. But it's there. It's happening. It's out there. Not enough people know about it, especially melanoma. And again, it's not just skin cancer.
No.
People every day, 1 person dies every hour from melanoma. That's about 10,000 people a year.
That's not okay.
That's not okay. And, you know, since we're talking to the young adult community, I mean, just some staggering facts for you. It's the 2nd most commonly diagnosed cancer in ages 15 to 29. And it's the leading cause of cancer death in women ages, 25 to 30?
Yeah.
That's insane.
That is insane.
That should not be.
Well, I'm overwhelmingly thrilled that we're building a wonderful partnership representing young adult cancer and melanoma, building community, improving quality of life, connecting people together, ending isolation, and just being part of the club that you never wanted to join, but your family once you're here.
Yes.
And you are family now that you're here.
Yes.
And we're glad that you're still here.
I'm super happy to be here.
I would hope you're super happy to be here. I'm pretty thrilled to be here too.
Yeah, right? Yeah. And I'm super happy to be here. I'm super happy to be part of such a wonderful organization. And
is this your first CancerCon?
This is my first CancerCon.
Oh, your mind's gonna be blown.
I know people kept trying to get me to go year over year, and you know, finally I was like, organizationally, I mean, besides me going, and I'll be at the Rockies game if anyone wants to come and say hi.
It's gonna be a great game.
It's gonna be a good game. But I was like, organizationally, we're gonna be the only organization there dedicated
representing young adult melanoma.
Young adult melanoma.
Yeah.
Which is crazy. It's super important, and not enough people know about it, and so we're there to make sure that it gets the attention that it deserves.
And it does deserve attention.
Exactly.
Cassie Beisel is the Community Engagement Manager for the Melanoma Research Foundation. We're going to put all these links and all these stats in the description below. We look forward to your comments. Melanoma.org and melanoma.org/getnaked.
Get naked, check yourself, check a loved one.
Well, we hope you've enjoyed this exciting episode of the Stupid Cancer Show. We'll see you back here next time. Bye-bye, folks.
See you guys later. We should high five.
Bam! Hello, friends. Do you like making young adult cancer suck less? Because I do. So if you do, be sure to click that subscribe button and the notification bell to never miss an episode of the Stupid Cancer Show. And follow us on social and all those things you crazy kids do.